The goal, objectives, and solution for a project identify what you're trying to achieve and the general approach for getting there. Requirements provide the details of what the outcome must look like. They are the specific needs of the project. Gathering requirements is important because if you miss true requirements, the customer won't be satisfied with the project results. On the other hand, if you include requirements that aren't really necessary, the project will probably take longer and cost you more than it should. For the corporate sales event, one objective is to showcase both new and existing products. One of the requirements could be to include all the selling points that the sales team identifies in each presentation. Another requirement could be to use the organization's brand terminology in all presentations. These requirements are both necessary and detailed. Gathering requirements can be challenging. Sometimes customers know what they want, and sometimes they don't. Customers and stakeholders often mix wish list items with true requirements. Another hazard is people who aren't stakeholders often append their requirements onto your to-do list. As the project manager, you have to distinguish between true requirements and faux requirements. There are several techniques for gathering requirements. Each technique has its pros and cons. The best choice of technique depends on your project. If your current project is like one that's been done in the past, then try reusing existing requirements. To do this, you will need documentation from that project. Determine whether some features have become obsolete or new ones have cropped up. Another way to flesh out requirements is to build a prototype. A prototype is usually a quick and rough model that your customers use to test out an idea. A prototype is great if your customers aren't quite sure what they want. Business process modeling and use cases are examples of methodologies for gathering requirements about processes and systems. You may have to train people on the methodology first, or hire people experienced with the tools. If your project involves several groups, you can hold requirements meetings with representatives from each group to discuss their requirements for the project. These meetings not only help identify requirements, but offer the advantage that you may also obtain buy-in from the departments that attend. You might want to hold separate meetings for different audiences, such as the business team and the IT department. In some cases, you might have one group attend to listen to what other groups need. If you're working on a project to revamp how people work, you can work with the end users directly. One approach is to conduct observations. In other words, watch what people do in their day-to-day activities. To make sure you get the requirements right, write them up and review them with the workers. You can also interview people. It's a good idea to put together specific questions for the first round of interviews. That way, you ask everyone the same questions and don't leave anything out. A second round of interviews can help clarify and refine the requirements. With your goal in mind, document your requirements by writing detailed statements of what must be accomplished in the project to satisfy the objectives.